Now, your first alert forecast with meteorologist Corey Thompson.
Good morning. The time now is 6:43, and Corey, I know a lot of people finally got to see some rainfall yesterday.
It was a refreshing sight, wasn't it? I mean, it was just kind of pleasant, moderate in intensity, really at worst.
Yeah.
So even if you had to get out and about, it wasn't really going to be that much of a hindrance, and so it was nice. And we did get some decent totals, but we have seen very dry Augusts in the past too. So the weather-wise question deals with that. When was Iowa City's driest August on record? Sorry guys, starting off with a tough one for Monday morning. But the options are 1948, 1966, 2013, or was it just a handful of years ago in 2020? Think about it for a minute. Iowa City, I will give you something of a hint, is already past the rainfall totals for the driest August on record with 0.73 recorded yesterday at the airport. Waterloo just over half an inch. Cedar Rapids officially just about a tenth. However, other spots in town, some unofficial reports from observers have given us totals higher than that. Dubuque only a trace, and that seems pretty consistent with other reports coming from that area. Latest view of our traffic incident here on Interstate 380 near the 42nd Street overpass. It looks like we're starting to get some movement here on towing these vehicles away, which will certainly clear things out and likely lead to those lanes being reopened. But for now, lane reductions are backing up traffic in the southbound lanes in that area. So please factor that into your drive today. Otherwise, we have green boxes across the board. Weather not an issue for your day as we go through it. Our Amanda Colony City Cam will take a second to pop up here. Temperatures reaching the 60s, 67 in Waterloo, 66 in the Amanas. You can see the sun through the clouds there in the Amanas as well, with some otherwise mostly cloudy skies. And that's kind of what we're going to experience through the morning hours. I think a fair amount of cloudiness, but the sun making its appearance here or there. And toward the afternoon, we'll see a bit more clearing. Now, that's when a few isolated showers could try to pop up. For the most part, I think we're going to be lacking the moisture for widespread activity and thus left it out of the forecast overall. But don't be shocked if you see a couple of those here or there. The vast majority will stay dry. Now toward tonight, mostly clear skies look like a pretty good bet, and that's where we'll head toward the start on Tuesday too. It looks like a pretty decent day for the second day of the work week. Temperatures today fairly decent too. Upper 70s to lower 80s across the area. 78 in Fayette, 77 in Washington, all around in a pretty narrow range, just below normal for this time of year, but certainly a welcome break from what has been warmer temperatures recently. Now by the middle of the week, we will have another storm system approaching. It'll be a low pressure that gathers on the plains and moves to the southeast. By Tuesday night, showers and storms to our west and southwest. Some of that activity could trickle in as soon as Wednesday morning, especially across the southern half of the state. As this low tracks to the south of the state, it does put eastern Iowa in a favorable area for some storms, but mostly rain, as the risk for severe weather will likely stay off to our southeast. Now, in terms of rainfall totals, over the next several days, including a chance as we head toward the end of the work week, could be a half an inch or more, especially in the southern half of the state, which does seem a little bit more favored than the north at this point for additional rainfall. We'll see that chance arrive again later Tuesday night into Wednesday. After a couple days in the low 80s at the warmest, we'll be headed toward the low to mid 80s by the end of the work week before staying in the low 80s after that. Overall, a pretty narrow range in temperatures over the next several days as we keep things generally active. But it's all little small chances here or there. I think the best chance will be as we head toward Wednesday. At this point, your weather-wise question, talking about the driest August on record, when was it in Iowa City? A couple of options, and they're kind of clustered together. So was it a while ago, or was it more recently?
A tough one for Monday, like you said.
Very tough one, I'm sorry.
I think C was more of a wetter year, at least in northeast Iowa, but I think I'll go B, 1966.
And I am going to completely guess, per usual. Let's say D, 2020.
Fair enough. So the reveal here is that these were all the top 4 driest Augusts, so it was also tough in terms of choices. Actually was C. Now, that doesn't mean that wasn't wet in northeast Iowa. Okay. Obviously, you can have big discrepancies in a short distance, but Iowa City only saw 0.13 inches that month, which is insanely dry. Like, that's crazy dry.
That's not a lot of rain at all.
That's basically nothing for what is traditionally one of the wetter months of the year. So we're already ahead of that. We can already say that in Iowa City. Hopefully we can continue to do that and even catch up on some of our deficits this year.
Yeah, could always be worse.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Thanks, Corey.